The only cars I've owned over the last 20 years have been the Volvo 240s. I've owned a handful of them, and I've run them all into the ground. My current ride has over 354k, a couple of dents, and a weather paint job. These cars are workhorses and they're perfect for what I do. They're simple, roomy, robust, and the trunk is huge, enabling me to pile in my camera gear and a couple of bikes to hit the road with the homies. I'm Jeff Zielinski, and this is In The Volvo. In the Volvo today is the one and only Erik Elstran. While in town working on some things this Sunday, he got a chance to hop in the Volvo for the afternoon. I know this isn't your first time in the Volvo, but welcome to In the Volvo.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure.
It's good to be back in the Volvo.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing out here right now? I feel like I've been seeing you in California pretty often.
Yeah, I've been coming to California more regularly the past couple of years, which has been cool to escape Minnesota temperatures, especially in the winter. This trip that I'm on right now is kind of centered around a complete bike release for the new Sunday complete bikes. So we're doing that and just out here for a week, and then we're filming every day just for like some people are doing like parts, and then there's gonna be like a Sunday like mixer video with a bunch of stuff. I haven't filmed a lot for that because I haven't been in like Austin. A lot of the Sunday team is now in Austin, Texas, and they've all been filming a bunch with Walter. So yeah, it's sweet to be out here with basically the whole team, except for Gary.
So last night, in preparation for this, I just watched some old videos and stuff, and just to refresh my memory, I guess. Which was your earliest edit? It was one from 2009, like April 2009.
I had a harmonica taped to my handlebars. Yeah, so that video came out 2009. My friend Ryan edited it and filmed it.
Okay.
And like at the time, it was just like I bought this camera because he had made videos before for this like local scene thing he had called North of 10, which was like northern Wisconsin area. Like he had a website, and it was just like friends making videos. And I bought a camera because he like lost his camera or whatever, and I was like, I just like seeing the old videos and wanted to make new ones. And we just filmed for basically just a month, with not even the intention of me like making a video of my own.
Okay.
And I just came home from school one day, and he had like taken all the footage we filmed in like that month and like made a video, and it had like went viral like before I even saw it.
That's crazy.
Which was really weird. I came home from school and like 10,000 people had seen it already, and then in addition, it got posted on eBalm's World, and there was like hundreds of comments on there about it. It was just really weird because I don't know. I just never conceived that I would make something that would be seen by that many people, and I feel like it was partly like just the right time and like the right place, like in terms of like videos on the internet for BMX, because it wasn't like a new thing at that point, but like I don't know. And obviously it was just like I was like doing a lot of just random weird, more creative things that people hadn't seen, I guess. So yeah, then I made another video a couple months later. That was like the trampoline video, like it ended with like trampoline things, and then that like kind of the same thing. That video got viewed like even more. It just like reached like an audience beyond BMX, which like wasn't really my intent making it. I just like I've always enjoyed like basically doing any trick that I think I physically can do, whether that's just like airing a quarter, doing a table, or doing like a feeble hard on a ledge. But in terms of like filming, I don't know. I've always thought, like, why does someone need to see this trick that thousands of other people are doing or whatever?
Okay.
So I was, even early on when I had never made a video part, I was just like, I want to see something different, because whenever I watch like props or something, and I saw like Matt Branger like roll on his back down a ledge, grinding, whatever, like those things always stood out to me, and like were more memorable and like funny, and I was just like, yeah, I want to make a video with like weird things like that.
You right out of the gate. Yeah, like your first. How old were you when your first in that first video?
It was 10 years ago. I'm 27 now, so I was 17.
Yeah. You first, because it wasn't even like you started out doing more orthodox stuff, and then eventually became, this uber creative rider. Yeah, your very first exposure to the world, and you already being that guy.
Yeah. Which I feel like was kind of weird at first, because then later I had this, definitely just on me, but I had like this pressure to like, oh, I have to like do the weirdest, like most creative things now, because like that's what people think or whatever. And like now I've like chilled out. Like I used to care a lot more about like what I filmed like 5 years ago maybe. As far as like, oh, this has to be like really hard and just different, and now I'm like more comfortable like just filming something like that I still think is cool, but it's just simpler or like tasteful but in a different way, and not like necessarily like goofy or weird.
Yeah, I guess at some point you set a bar, 'cause obviously it's the age-old approach to like people who film video parts a lot. Like they always want their next video part to be
right,
better, or just stand apart from the other ones in some way.
Yeah, and just feeling progression in any capacity, like out of BMX too, is like obviously super like gratifying, and gives a lot of purpose to someone's life.
And then there's the Dragon edit,
Yeah.
which wasn't it in the Bicycle Film Festival?
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly. I got hit up after the trampoline video came out. It was like, oh, we liked your trampoline video or whatever. Do you want to submit a video for our upcoming Bicycle Film Fest? And it was like when Birth of Big Air was coming out.
Okay.
So that was like premiering in New York, and it was whatever, like, yeah, this Bicycle Film Fest, and I was like, yeah, I'll make a video. And I don't know, I think originally I wanted it to be more of like a story or like a theme in the video.
Okay.
And then that's why the Dragon thing came into play. It was basically just like me and my brother just like thought of this little like skit and filmed it in like an hour. And I'm just like, I dressed up as a dragon, and he like comes at me with this like pole, and then I like hippie jump over it, and then that's like it. And then it just goes into like a normal video. But I don't know, it was still fun making that, and I think, I don't know, people still like remember that or like talk about it, and that has, I think more to do so with like the Dragon aspect of it, because it was just like, what is this? Dragon?
So it was in the film festival? Like,
yeah, I guess I didn't ever see it, but
when I actually started watching that one last night, and it said like the one that's online is like condensed version or shortened, or was there like a longer one, or
I made two versions.
Okay.
The one that played at the Bicycle Film Fest had like a different song and like a few more clips.
Okay.
I don't even remember why I did that, but it made sense at the time. Oh, and then the song that I put in the one that's online, the Dragon video, that song is different, like I said. And that song is like this, it's like this Japanese artist don't even remember. I think his name is like Hiromi Go or something like that. And that song is like impossible to find on the internet.
Okay.
Or at least it was like when I made it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I got that song is I had it on this record, like vinyl, and I just recorded it from my camera, like a microphone really close to the speaker. So it doesn't sound like that good at all. But the song is like, I feel like also what made the video like more memorable and interesting to people, because it's just this like goofy song. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird to talk about old videos.
And then not to keep going down, but obviously your video parts are a huge part of your contribution and how people know you. So I guess it is a logical topic. The garage edit was amazing, and obviously in that one there's a lot of different outfits and filming in mirrors. And
well, that's at my friend's house, the Whites family. And there's 3 brothers, 2 of them ride, and then 1 skates. And yeah, they built the mini ramp in their garage. And at the time, that was like 20 minutes from my parents' house. Mm-hmm. So it was like the closest place to like ride indoors and like have a session. So yeah, we just rode there all the time. And they had filmed like a garage edit like years prior. And that was just like part of the motivation. I was like, I want to make a newer garage video. And then I don't know, just one thing led to another, and yeah, we had all these weird outfits and stuff. I don't know why exactly. And obviously when you're making an edit, you're making, like essentially like a little short film about riding. So there is more potential to tell a story or, but it's like a form of art, and you don't need to like, wear gimmicky like outfits and stuff like I did before. But yeah, it definitely has changed the way I ride. Just the fact that I'm always like thinking about what I could film or something. And yeah, I just like, I would rather like put in time to do something like that's very difficult for me, like spend hours to film something and like end up with like, a few seconds of something that I'm like really stoked on, rather than like just putting in effort to be really consistent and like be able to do a contest run that I'm like stoked on. Mm-hmm. I don't know, just because to me it's like, I guess, more unique and like gratifying to like have something that's sort of at like a higher level for me. Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to do this again, but here's proof that I did it. Okay. Rather than like, yeah, I did all these things in a row and it was really hard.
I have noticed and really appreciated, I've seen you, with Grant filming stuff from Madeira, super difficult things. Like that one day at that ledge spot in Compton, and we were there pretty much all day. And you did some stuff, but there's one thing you tried to film, and you literally filmed it, tried hundreds of times, and you kept your cool the whole time. Like, I didn't even hear you like nothing. I was like, man, this is. I was almost more impressed by how well you maintained your attitude, more so than what you're trying to do, which was also a crazy thing. But like, ever since then, I'm like, man, I get it. I feel like you have to approach things with that kind of attitude if you want to do some stuff you do. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's definitely one thing that BMX has like given me, probably, that I don't know if I would have otherwise. Is just like patience. Mm-hmm. And like determination to just like try something over and over, because obviously it's like a super gratifying feeling to accomplish something that you didn't think was possible, both like physically and mentally. And that's like one of the great things about BMX to me, is just like that feeling. Everyone can relate to that. And I don't know, I guess I kind of like rationalize it in my head that getting
getting angry is not gonna help me like do the trick better, personally, because I know some people that is actually not the case. They might like get mad and throw their bike, and then that like frustration is gone, and to some extent, and then they can like do the trick or whatever they were trying. But yeah, it's just, especially when I'm on a trip too, I just think like, man, I'm on this trip. I got flown here to ride my bike. This is crazy. Like, I can't be upset that I just can't do like a trick. Like, it's not like, it doesn't have to like ruin my day, you know. But yeah,
that's a refreshing perspective, though.
That day was definitely, I was very exhausted and like just over it at a certain point.
That was a very strong test to your will, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like also the way I ride and stuff is I put myself in those situations a lot to just try something that, like, I've definitely like started filming something before and I'm like, okay, this will probably take 2 hours and I might not do it, but I'm still gonna try because I need to know if I can do it, or I know that's within the realm of possibility, but it's like pushing it right now.
Do you have looking back, is there one video you got to choose that you're just like your favorite? It could be because of the accomplishments or just the time of your life, or one that you just feel like represents you the best, so to speak.
I guess maybe the Sunday grow up part. I guess that's like kind of the last like major part I had. So it's probably like overall the best riding I've had. I guess that's ideal too. Just like your latest video part is sort of.
That's how you want it to be, I guess, right? Like.
Yeah. I made a video a few years ago now. It was like BX stuff filmed in Minneapolis.
Okay.
It was for Maderic, I think it was called. And I like that video. It wasn't like the craziest stuff I've done, but it was. I edited it.
Okay.
So that was fun. I think I like editing BMX videos more than I like filming them. Yeah, actually I know I do, because I don't like filming BMX. I like rather ride than film most of the time, like other people, I guess. But yeah, that video was cool. Cause I had there was like a slight, not theme, but there was like a weather change part where it's like riding in the summer, and then this like news reporter came up, he was talking about a storm coming, and then there was like 3 clips in the snow, and then the video ended. And I don't know, I kind of like little extra things like that in a video.
Speaking about snow, yeah, so I mean I've definitely have seen more clips of you personally riding in the snow and doing like rails than I've seen of anyone else in BMX all together collectively riding in the snow. It definitely seems like. Do you want to talk? Let's talk a little bit about where you grew up, and because I feel like that and the weather and just like where you were located probably had a lot to do. Probably help dictate your riding style a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. It's a relatively small town. About like 15,000 people live there. The closest indoor park was like in Minneapolis, so it was like 2 hours, hour and a half away. And a lot of times I would just ride a little like patch of cement in my parents' garage in the winter, and there's like not really room in there to do anything, but I basically learned like skills or whatever, like weird foot jam combinations or something. I'd learn things that I would like store, and then I'd be like, okay, I can take this to a quarter pipe once I can ride a quarter pipe. So I'd learn a lot of like just weird jibby things on flat, And just riding the same thing over in general just like forces creativity, because you're giving yourself a limitation, and to keep it interesting you have to like find new things to do and whatnot. But yeah, and then I basically lived in Minneapolis since being 18. I lived in Austin, Texas for just a winter, and then I like traveled around for almost like a year straight. But I've basically been in the Midwest in Minneapolis. But yeah, riding in the snow is not fun per se, but I kind of just had to do it out of necessity. Luckily, Minneapolis has like a good indoor park. There's Third Lair, and that's only like 5 miles or so from the city. So I rode there a lot, like the last couple winters. But yeah, to finish that one video I was talking about, I wanted like a few more clips for it, and it was winter, so I was like, well, I guess we got to film something. And to me, like handrails made the most sense, especially when you're not like spinning out of them, because you don't really need traction on your tires to do them.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, the last clip in that video, I do like a handrail, like front tire drop bonk to the handrail.
Yeah.
And I did it, and then I like fell, and then I thought it'd be funny to like put snow on the runway just to like make it harder. But I've had people like come up to me and say like, so what was the deal with you putting snow on the runway? That like made it easier? It's like, absolutely not. Like, I don't know, it's just like a dumb thing, but I just thought it was funny to make it look like that was actually helping, but it made it like harder.
Let's talk about your parents' house, and cause like obviously your first 2 videos, there was a lot of the mini ramp, and then you had like the obstacle course going through the yard, connecting stuff, and then the trampolines. Like, it seemed like you were kind of like out in the woods, in the sticks, so to speak, just having, and that's just what you rode all the time, was the mini ramp.
Kinda. So I grew up in a very magical place. My parents own a small resort. It's on a lake, and there's just 6 cabins there that are rented year round. And I don't know. Yeah, I built a mini ramp when I was 16, and it was like 6 feet tall, 16 feet wide, like perfect mini ramp. And yeah, there's just like always a lot of things like around, being that it was a resort, like pieces of plywood or just random junk. And yeah, it's just a product of being there and being not being around a lot of other things, and not having like a lot of skate parks and whatnot to ride, that it was just like, oh, let's make a little like obstacle course thing. I don't know.
No, so it's interesting because now piecing it together, I mean, you put out your first edit when you were like 17, and even at that point, you weren't just, even then, you weren't doing like stock tricks, and you were so early. You got a mini ramp when you were 16. I mean, I feel like, did you just like learn all the base like bars and tailwhips and stuff like that, like really quick, and just like move past it? Or like
maybe. No, I don't know. I've never considered myself like a super like natural at bike riding. I think I do have like a greater patience maybe than most riders do, or just like will to like ride like a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely like learned. At that time I was doing like a lot more tail whips and bar spins, but like I said, I just didn't feel the need to put them in that video,
Right.
because it just like wasn't as special to me. And yeah, I guess I understood that. sort of at an early age. And I don't pretend like I had a good sense of like spots by then at all, because I would be stoked on just riding like a bank flyout and like doing a weird bike transfer thing. At that point, I wasn't looking at like a storm door or whatever, you know, and thinking that was cool.
You probably didn't have that stuff around anyway, so.
No.
When and why did you start wearing a helmet?
I had a pretty bad concussion. Not wearing a helmet. I was riding a Ray's mountain bike park, the one in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Like right before it was even opened, and basically that whole weekend is like blurry still. Like I don't really remember hitting my head. Barely remember being at like the hospital, and yeah, it's kind of like the scariest thing to me is just hitting my head and like becoming a vegetable or like being paralyzed or whatever. And I didn't really start wearing a helmet right after that. I sort of started wearing my helmet anytime I was at a skate park.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I wasn't super strict about it. And then years later, I was with Rob DeQuattro in Albuquerque, and he tried to wall ice this really big rail, and just like didn't get like leaned back enough,
okay,
and like went over the bars, hit his head, and it was weird because he just hit his head and he just kind of like walked away, and it was like, I'm fine, and just like walked away, but I could tell like something was not right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like followed him. I should have never like left him out of my sight, but I followed him. He went around the corner, he was like talking on his phone to his girlfriend. He didn't even know where he was. It was just like really scary to see. He ended up being fine, but yeah, just like seeing your friends go down like that, and just knowing that how, you know, like shit happens, like,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you can be the most dialed rider and not, you know, be doing something very simple and just fall down the wrong way, and then I don't know. So yeah, it was shortly after that fall I kind of started. Me and Rob like kind of both decided like, oh, this is like something we should do. And yeah, now I just like, I don't really think about it as far as like, it's just pretty natural.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I know it doesn't like look the coolest to wear a helmet, and it is like another thing to like bring around, but I don't know, it's worth it to me. And I know that even a helmet isn't going to save me from like everything.
Better than not wearing one if, you know, worst case scenarios happen, you know?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was curious because I mean, you
wear a helmet.
Yeah,
right?
The first like 20 odd years of my life riding, I didn't wear one. And then a couple years ago, like a light bulb went off. When we started our family, and I was like just looking at like my wife and daughter, and I was like, this could all go away if it hit my head. This, you know, experiencing this, and I was like, that's crazy. And it still took a little while for me to like, especially riding street, you know, and I don't even do like gnarly things, but like you said, you can fall doing anything and get hurt, you know. It could be like the simplest thing, you know. So anyway, yeah, but
yeah, and I think I know that I definitely do like things with more potential danger now, but it's like more calculated risk than definitely like when I first started riding, because I like broke my collarbone just like manually off a loading dock, because I dropped my front end right as I was going off the loading dock, flipped over and like landed on my, you know, shoulder. And like that would never happen now. Like I would just like jump off my bike if I knew it was going down like that or whatever. But yeah, and I have thought about, I mean, I I started wearing a helmet before I got married, but it's definitely like, and we don't have kids, but like, that is definitely another factor too, is just having people like depend on you. And
yeah, it's not just about you anymore.
right.
Like, every decision you make in some way is going to affect your family, or at least like your wife, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking about your wife, might as well get off of the, you know, injury topics. How long have you been married for now?
Almost 3 years.
3 years. Do you feel like, because it seemed like when you first like became pro and everything, you were traveling a lot. Do you feel like you've reeled it back a little bit?
I guess in some ways. Because when I was 22, I was living in Austin, and then I moved away in July or whatever, and I went to Europe for 2 months, and then basically was traveling up until like April the next year, like came back to the States, and then I went to like East Coast, stayed with friends, like just kind of, I don't know, slept on couches and stuff. And I went to Austin and Denver and just kind of went all over the place. Went to China. And like, I could never do that now. Nor do I really want to, I guess. And I just had like a lot of freedom to like ride every day. That's like all I did. And now I have to be a little more intentional about when I ride and what that like gives me. Which is, it's different, and I'm glad I got to experience like what I experienced before, now that I'm like where I'm at in life now. But yeah, like going on a trip now, it's like I really like just enjoy just riding like all day, because that's like not something I get to do all the time. I still like, I don't know, I still feel lucky I have a lot of time to ride. It's really like the main thing I'm doing now, like back home too. But yeah, me and my wife Sarah have went on a lot of road trips together, and where like I bring my bike. She's a musician, so she plays music, and we'll do like shows, and then I'll like ride a skate park like earlier in the day. So we've like found a pretty good balance at traveling and like doing both of our things. So I feel lucky in that regard too.
That was gonna lead me to my next question, which was about when you guys retrofitted the van to live in.
Yeah.
We went on a road for what was like 10 months for her to do a tour.
It was like 6 months.
6 months, okay.
So yeah, last year in 2018, we were like basically living out of our minivan for 6 months, and we didn't sleep in there. Like, we probably slept in there about 40% of the time. Like, we stayed at a lot of like friends' houses and stuff, which definitely made it like doable, because we had like a simple like sliding bed thing in our van. Like, it wasn't like a living space, it was just like a place to sleep basically. And then we had all our things in there, and we were around like the Midwest for a few months of that, like, so it didn't feel like we were like totally like, you know, we weren't like in unfamiliar places all the time. But yeah, she played like 60 some shows or something over the course of 6 months, and yeah, when she plays her music, she does like live vocal looping.
Okay.
So she just like loops her vocals over and over in a microphone, and then has like a little hand drum, does like percussive stuff over it. And then when she does that, I like project like live visuals, so I'm like manipulating the image and stuff live to the music, which is cool because that's like kind of something I've wanted to do for a long time. And it's just a cool way to mix, like, because I've made like a handful of music videos over the years, and it's just like a cool outlet for me to like use different things I've filmed and like mix them in. And
it's like a multimedia project, sort of.
Yeah, for sure.
During that time, how did you work in riding? Like,
yeah, so I kind of, well, actually during that time I finished filming the frame promo I did.
Okay.
Which was kind of tough because I can't really just like ditch her in an unfamiliar city and just be like, alright, I'm gonna go ride street by myself and try to like self-film myself for this video or whatever. But we ended up staying we were in Providence, Rhode Island, and we stayed at like Walter's house, or the house he owns there. So he's got like this tiny, like, it's like it's the house that we did the Sunday vs. Odyssey project. Mm-hmm. And he has like sort of a one-off little like bedroom / bathroom, like different unit. So we stayed in there for like a week, which is super nice to just like, he wasn't around, but he like gave us the code to get in or whatever. And I ended up filming a few things there. Like I met up with Chris and Mayo and some people in Providence, and then it was nice because then she was just like chilled there for like a few hours or whatever, and then I went and filmed some stuff and finished it. But most of the time we would just be in like an unfamiliar place or whatever, and I would just like look up skate parks that we were near on Google and then go there and ride them for a couple hours, and then we move on or whatever.
You got the invite to film for X Games Real BMX last year, but you turned it down because you had obligations to do stuff with Sarah at the time.
So yeah, we had plans to do this trip long before I got that invite. And yeah, we ended our lease in like May, and then the filming, I got asked like in July, and the filming period was like starting August to February, and we had plans to like be traveling until like November, and then we didn't even know what we were doing. So yeah, it was definitely like the worst timing for me. Mm-hmm. And with something like that project, I just wanted it to be like as good as I could make it, and like the best like stuff I filmed or whatever.
Right.
And I just knew it was gonna be like way too stressful and impossible to like put that all together. So I declined.
You had wanted to film it all like locally? Was that just because of the spots, or just because you actually just wanted to theme it around local things?
Yeah, I envisioned filming a lot of it too in Minneapolis or around like my hometown, just because I don't have like a filmer there that I film with regularly, and I just have like a lot of spots and ideas and things like saved up. Mm-hmm. So I knew that would be probably like the most efficient, and like not a lot of people film. Not a lot of teams come through Minneapolis to film, so there's like a lot of untapped things there. Like a pro bike rider or whatever, you're like getting paid for like someone to like film you and take photos of you and like pay attention to you, and it's just like kind of hard to not be in your own head sometimes about that, or like have an ego or whatever.
That was an interesting comment. I can see like it could slowly build someone into being like self-centered, or again, that might not be the right word either, but I see what you're saying. But yeah. It's definitely an interesting dynamic, I guess, or situation to be in. It's not your average person's life, that's for sure. Like.
Yeah. And it's interesting for me because like Sarah is a musician, and like the music world and BMX world are similar in some ways, but like very different. And I don't know, I respect trying to be a musician so much. It just seems so much harder because, well, for one thing, there's just so many more musicians.
Okay.
And there's just like such a business side to it of like marketing yourself,
right?
Which applies in BMX, but it does seem like if you are really good at riding your bike, like someone will take notice, and like, I don't know, as long as you're not like a huge dick, like.
I feel like in BMX, if you market yourself too much, it's almost frowned upon. It's almost like
right.
I guess you could tiptoe in the way you execute marketing yourself, would have something to do with it, but in general, I feel like self-promoting, it just comes off weird to a lot of people, you know? Maybe it's just done in the right way or something, but...
Yeah, and I mean, you do have to make an effort, whether it's like comes off as very intentional or not. Because like, yeah, I've been in so many places around the world where it's like, this person is like better at riding than me, like they're destroying this part or whatever. But if you don't like care enough to put in the time to like just film a video or like have some kind of representation of your riding, like no one's gonna like know that you're shredding. But yeah, like it's not like everyone's trying to do that. I mean, I wasn't really trying to like make a name for myself in BMX, and I've definitely like never thought it would like bring me to all the places it has, and I feel like I'm not trying to like prove myself or do anything more in BMX that I like haven't done. I don't know.
I was about to ask you. Huh.
Kind of
hit a wall. Oh, yeah, your clothes, like, I have a name right here. I can't remember what it's called right now. Vacation Closet Club.
Yep.
Was that just the name of the actual Etsy store?
Yeah, it's just like an Etsy store, and that, I don't know, that just kind of happened. I started like sewing clothes probably like 5 years ago, or like sewing on them. Basically what I do is I find like a shirt or a jean jacket or whatever and like modify it. So I just like sew things over like pocket flaps or like edges or collars. But yeah, it's just like a fun side thing that I've been doing. I sell things, but I don't like make a lot of money, and it's not lucrative at all because it's really time consuming. I do everything by hand, so I just use like a needle and a thread. I don't use a sewing machine.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally just, I would pin a piece of fabric online with this seam, and then sew it and take out the pins as I go.
Okay.
It's kind of like coloring, but with fabric. But yeah, I was doing that for a little bit, like 5 years ago, and people were like, "Oh, where do you get that jacket? Where do you get that shirt?" Like, it's like, I made it, or I modified it, and I don't know. I just kind of like, a few people were like, "Oh, you should sell those. Like, people would buy that." I was like, "No, no one would buy that." And then I don't know. I just kind of decided, yeah, I might as well try to do it.
How's it been received?
Pretty good, I think. I've sold like maybe like 25 things or something over the years.
That's cool.
I haven't made that many things though.
Yeah,
so
that
it's
seems like
everything is everything is unique. Like, I don't do the same thing twice ever because it's always like a different shirt. Like, I sell jean jackets for like $100 and shirts for like 50 to 60 ish, which like I wouldn't pay that much for a jean jacket or a shirt. But also, like, I bought a jacket or shirt for like $10, $20, and then I spend like sometimes over 10 hours on it, and then I gotta take a photo of it, post it, and then when someone buys it, I have to like take it to the post office and ship it. Like there's like kind of a lot that goes into it.
Oh, you're making like way under minimum wage. You put an hour stamp on a time.
It's cool to just like sell your art and have people appreciate it. And I don't know. I was like just going to thrift stores in general and like seeing what's there, and I can't help but look at things now with the potential for like modifying it and selling it.
As far as creativity goes, I feel like your brain's probably always kind of like the wheels spinning.
I have a hard time like not doing anything, like sitting still. Like even on the plane ride on this trip, I brought a shirt and I was like sewing it on the plane. I actually have a funny story about that. One time I was sewing like at the gate, like waiting before I got on the plane, and I was on the plane later and then sitting, and one of the flight attendants comes up to me and he's like, I have a note for you. And he like, I could tell he's like weirded out that he had to like give a note to me. And the note was like, oh hey, I saw you sitting at the gate sewing. It looked like you were sewing a whatever on a pocket. I just wanted to say that's really cool. By the way, I'm not hitting on you. I'm an old lady. And it was like, sweet. So yeah, I kept the note. I just thought it was really funny.
That's awesome. That's very sweet. Let's talk about Lake Owen.
Let's talk about Lake Owen.
What is Lake Owen? I mean, I know it is, but for people who don't know what we're talking about.
Lake Owen was basically a tiny woodward camp in northern Wisconsin. It doesn't exist anymore. The owners sold it to someone a few years ago, which is super sad. But I went as a camper when I was 16, and yeah, I met a ton of people there that I'm still friends with today. I met like Mike Hinkins, Jeff Dowling. Actually, the first year I went, I was a camper. I was 16, and Hinkins was the BMX director that year.
Okay.
And the first thing he said to me was like, he was yelling at me to put my helmet on, because I was like, I was just pedaling from like, I got done riding and I was pedaling back to my cabin, and I just like took my helmet off. He said, "Hey, helmet!" So that was like my first experience with Mike Hinkins. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I went there as a camper, and then I like won the contest or whatever they had, so I went back the next year as a camper again, and then I worked there for the following like 3 summers. It was like a BMX instructor or whatever, and yeah, just a ton of good times there. It's like probably like a quarter, maybe even less, of the size of like Woodward East.
Okay.
But it's like very much a summer camp because it's like on a lake, and it's actually it's kind of similar to like where I grew up, like being on a lake in Wisconsin. And we were talking about like videos and filming and stuff before. I went to college for cinematography.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought I read that somewhere. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I went to college right after high school. I went to a technical college.
Okay.
It was just 2 years, and my major was cinematography. I kind of had an interest in filming early on, like making those BMX videos, and then that transitioned to more like, oh, I want to make feature films, and that's like what I want to do with my life. And I don't regret going to college at all. I had a good time. I learned a lot, and it's like it made me realize things like, I guess one, I don't want to make feature films as a living, but more so I want to make like music videos or something I have like more control over.
Okay.
Like, there's just like, it's just such a production and hard to make feature films
I can imagine.
as a means to like make money.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to juggle this huge like business side to it, and I don't know. Now, being married to my wife Sarah, who's a musician, like I just like interact with a lot more musicians and more in that world. So, and I had made music videos before, and that's like kind of my plan in life now, is to pursue that more when BMX is done. But I know even that is like, it's still pretty hard to like make money doing music videos all the time, because a lot of bands don't have money, or there's like not that much money in it compared to commercial stuff. And that is actually, I've done that like the past like 3 or 4 years too on the side. Just like work on commercial film jobs like here and there, and in addition to BMX, which is cool because that stuff like pays really well.
Yeah.
And it's just like freelance, so I haven't had like a, you know, like a steady like 9 to 5 job in like 6 years or so. I don't know if I can now, because it's been like so long.
Music does seem to play a big part in your life, I feel like, with inspiration and ideas. Like, I know you listen to a lot of like indie rock type bands, but we haven't really talked about music in general beyond what Sarah does.
Yeah.
What are your music habits? Or do you play instruments too?
No, I don't really play anything. I played upright bass in middle school.
Okay.
And I was playing like bass guitar for a little bit, but writing kind of just like took over, and then I was like, just didn't really put any time into that. Yeah, I mean, lately I like go to more shows now than I ever have in my life. Just like a lot of local shows in Minneapolis, which is sweet.
Music scene is big in Minneapolis too. A lot of bands come through there.
Yeah,
I think
it's like kind of big in a, like, almost there's too many musicians on like the local level. It's like, it's just like, it seems like it's kind of hard for people to show up, because like everyone's a musician. There's like there's like so many shows happening every night, and there's like not enough like attendees to like see them.
Okay.
And then, you know, obviously people go out to see like the big touring bands that come through and have no idea that there's like stuff happening at a smaller local level. So like lately I don't like find as much new music like on the internet and stuff, because I kind of just like see a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I don't know, it like fills the void of that. And I don't know if you know about this, but me and some friends have been doing like a local music video channel now for just over 2 years. And the first year we did it, we released a video every week.
Okay.
So, you know, like 50 videos in a year. And it's just like one song, like a lot of them are like acoustic, like singer-songwriters. And we just make it really simple, like a couple cameras, film them, do a song, like a couple takes, and it's like just the song.
Okay.
And it's really useful for them to like, to promote themselves and like get more shows. Like, this is a representation of like what I do, you know? Like,
okay. That's cool. That's a good service.
Yeah, but it's called Pony Rug because everyone plays on a rug that has ponies on it, or horses. because of that, we've done like over, I don't know, like 75 people. We like, me and Sarah, we just like are super connected to the local music scene. Like we just know a lot of people because we've like filmed them or whatever. So yeah, that's like another side thing I've been doing. And now we release a video every other week, so I don't have to think about it as much. Like there's gonna be a video coming out Monday that I finished like a month ago or whatever.
Okay.
So, and the way we do it is we film like 5 or so bands in one day, like give them an hour each. So then we don't have to film that much. We film like once every couple months.
Right, and then you just spend the rest of the time cutting.
Yeah, I'm sure you can relate with like scheduling things and having content and stuff for Ride. No longer Ride now.
I make that slip quite often still myself, so.
A lot of times I kind of force myself to do things or like ride a spot because I know that for me, a lot of times I figure things out to film sort of through accident, or I'll ride a spot thinking I can do one thing, I'll start trying it, and then one time I almost do something else, and then it sparks an idea like, oh, I could actually do that thing. I mean, yeah, I definitely have like tricks in my head that I just like written down that I like need a spot for. But like I was saying before, like, you know, like creativity comes through like limitations. So like I actually enjoy riding like the same spot over and over again, or just like the same small skate park with like not that many options. Because that's like what I grew up riding, is like the same skate park over and over, or like the same few spots. And the way that riding was, you know, exciting for me was like finding new things to do. It's like, oh, if I learn this one skill, now I have all these other doors like open, and then it just kind of like builds and builds from there. That, and then just like what I was saying before, is just kind of like forcing yourself to ride something that you might not think at first that you could do anything on. Oftentimes I just like kind of surprise myself, like, oh, I could actually maybe do this. And then just like revisiting old spots and seeing like new potential in old things. So
Erik's not in town by himself. He's here with the Sunday guys, and we're going to go meet up with the Sunday team now. Well, they're actually here yet.
There they are. There's the tent. I didn't realize there was a skate park right there.
Yeah, a little like prefab thing.
That reminds me of home. It's about 5 parks that look like this.
That was fucking sick. Nice.